Hola clase y bienvenidos otra vez. Estamos aquí en unidad 3 y vamos a hablar un poco más sobre el pretérito. El tema de hoy es unos verbos irregulares en el pretérito. Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit more about the preterite and in fact some irregular verbs in the preterite. Okay, before we begin, we have to ask, what is the preterite tense? Remember, the preterite tense is the past tense that explains what we did. Okay, so for example, I went to the store, I bought an apple, and I drove to my house. Those are all three excellent examples of the preterite. Something that's done and over with in the past. How do we form the preterite? Well, if you remember here, we drop the AR, ER, or IR, and then we add the following endings. A reminder on your song, we had AR preterite is A, aste, o, amos, aron, ER, IR forms are I, iste, yo, imos, yeron. Okay, hopefully that was enough to help you review what is the preterite and how do I conjugate it. Okay, building off of that, let's go to section 2 on your note guide. Here, we're going to talk about 6 verbs that are irregular in the preterite. These 6 verbs are listed here. We have hacer, estar, poder, poner, saber, y tener. All 6 verbs are what are called irregular stem verbs in the preterite. So why are they called that? Well, you first need to know what is a stem. A stem is what is left of the verb once you remove the AR, ER, or IR. So the stem of the verb hacer would be HAC. Okay, now because these are called irregular stem verbs, the stem in the preterite is not going to be HAC. It's going to be HIC. The same is true for estar, poder, poner, saber, and tener. All 6 have what is called an irregular stem. Okay, these are going to be relatively easy to remember once you can get down what is the irregular stem. The reason they're so easy to remember is that they all share this one set of endings. You'll notice that these endings don't carry any accents and that they're kind of a combination of your AR, ER, IR endings. Okay, these endings are E, iste, o, imos, istes, ieron. So how would I conjugate an irregular stem verb? Let's take a look at poder, to be able to or can. If I wanted to conjugate it, I would first put in its irregular stem, pud, in all the forms, all the boxes here. Then I add these endings. So it would look something like pude, pudiste, pudo, pudimos, pudistes, pudieron. Okay, let's do a few more examples on the next few slides. Please go ahead and fill in the verb charts on section 2 as we go along. On a special side note, please notice that under saber, I did write you a note about how saber changes meaning in the preterite. There's just a few verbs that do this. Okay, saber in regular tense means, or in the present tense and other tenses, means to know, facts or information. However, when you use it in the preterite, it's going to mean to find out. So if you said supe, you would be saying I found out. Okay, let's take a look at tener in the preterite tense. Notice its irregular stem is tuv. First thing you want to do is fill in all boxes with tuv. Then you want to go back and add these endings. Your conjugation of tener in the preterite is tuve, tuviste, tuvo, tuvimos, tuvieron. Okay, let's look at one more verb. Let's look at the verb hacer. Hacer means to do or to make. Notice its irregular stem is is, so we went ahead and put HIC, HIC, etc. everywhere. We'll talk about this box and why it's special in just a second. Okay, and then we added our endings. So you had, for hacer, hice, hiciste, hizo, hicimos, hicieron. So why in the world would we change the he-she form? Why didn't we spell it H-I-C-O? If we spelled it like that, it would be pronounced hico, according to our pronunciation rules. Okay, remember that I's and E's soften, C's and G's. So a C followed by an A, O, or U is pronounced as k, and we do not want hico with the verb hacer. Okay, now let's flip to section 3 of your note guide. We're going to talk about a few more verbs that are irregular in the preterite. I would like you, after the video is over, to go back and finish estar, poder, poner, and saber in the preterite. That's what I will check when I come around and check your notes. Okay, the first verb we're going to talk about is ir, meaning to go. You can see the conjugation here. To many of you, this may look familiar. Several of you have asked me in our writing assignments throughout the semester, how do I say I went? Okay, here it is. Pronunciation would be fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fueron. Okay. I wish I had a good category to put ir in, like the irregular stem verbs, but unfortunately it does not fit into any category, nor do the other 3 verbs that you're going to fill out in section 3. Okay, the second verb we're going to talk about is the verb ser, which means to be. You can see here that ser and ir share the exact same conjugation in the preterite. Okay, so it's fui, fuiste, fue, fuimos, fueron. So how are you going to know? If it says yo fui, am I saying I went? Or am I saying I was? It's going to come down to the context of how it was used in the sentence. For example, él fue al partido. He went to the game. El partido fue un éxito. The game was a success. Okay, so again, context to tell the difference. Am I using ir or am I using ser? Okay, let's now go to ver, which means to see. Ver is an ER verb. It still actually has ER-IR endings. Iste, io, imos, ieron. The only thing that makes it irregular is that it does not carry accents in the yo, nor in the he, she, usted form. That should be a really easy one for us to pick up, again, because the only thing that makes it irregular is the lack of accents. Last verb is dar. Dar means to give. Its conjugation is di, diste, dio, dimos, dieron. What makes dar irregular? Well, it's an AR verb, but it has ER-IR endings. Di, or iste, io, imos, ieron. Notice how much ver and dar resemble each other in the preterite conjugation. Okay, they're exactly the same, except for instead of a B, you have a D. Okay, so let's recap. Today we talked about 10 irregular verbs in the preterite. You first learned 6 irregular stem verbs, and then 4 verbs that really don't fit into any category. The nice thing about today's 10 verbs, they don't carry any accents, so we don't have to worry about that. And I, of course, will have a song to help you remember them. Okay, if you have any additional questions, please feel free to see me. Write them on your note guide. Also, you may look back at pages 70 and 173. Muchas gracias y que pases un buen día.